I'm going live, but please give me 1 second. Forgive me. Forgive me. Okay, good. I've really been struggling with coming up with a way of how I want to say what I'm about to say. The title of the video is The Respectability Hustle and Using the Martial Arts for Peace. Now, let me start by saying this. My original goal for taking a martial art, when I wanted to start doing it way back in the day, was not necessarily to just learn how to fight, learn how to beat people up. I wanted to be able to defend myself from people and not have to actually hurt them. And I started looking around. I heard that Aikido was a good way to do that. But way back when, there was no Aikido near me. I wouldn't even have known where to find it. And people said you could take jujitsu. And I didn't know of any jujitsu that was near me way back when. I'm talking, this is way back like 80s. I didn't know where to go to find jujitsu. I'd even found out that some people I went to school with were doing jujitsu, but my mother wouldn't drive that far up through 2 counties and then over a bridge to take me to do jujitsu when I'm supposed to be going to school the next day, plus the price. So I ended up taking a long way around through the martial arts journey. And in hindsight, this was a good approach for me to take because I learned a lot and I don't begrudge any of that training. I learned a lot. And the stuff I know that I know, and I know why I know it. Bear with me. I know I'm going to be long-winded on this one, especially when I get to the respectability hustle. So I ultimately had found out that what I had really wanted to do would probably be covered more by Hapkido. But as far as I knew, there was no Hapkido near me either. So when I did eventually beg, plead with my mother and got her to sign me up from Taekwondo, and the instructor said, well, Taekwondo is the way of the hand and the foot, I thought about it. I was like, when don't you use your hands or your feet in the martial arts? Use your hands and your feet, or your hand and your foot in some kind of way. Okay. And this is all long before I knew about Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do, empty your mind, just try to take what's useful and, absorb the rest, that type of thing. So I started off there and I've been going ever since. So keep in mind that even though I major in punch kick, my main goal for students and for myself is for you to not really have to hurt somebody if you're trying to use your technique. Now, some people, like these people that want to believe in preemptive striking, or, people that just want to be, for lack of a better term, just want to be hard, want to be tough or whatever. They don't like that approach. They don't see the point in it. I'd even gotten turned away when I went to the first time I went to Aikido place as an adult. I finally found it. Finally had some money to go. He sent me back to striking arts and said, honestly, if you would get to at least the first or second degree of the striking art, then come to me. I could really teach you Aikido better because you have to understand attack before you can understand defense. So I thought, he's just trying to blow me off. Let me just go somewhere anyway. And I felt, and I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I felt like he kind of thought I was trying to be a wimp because I was a young man who's talking about, I'm not a young man now, but I was a young man then talking about how I want to move away from violence and I want to be able to, do no harm to whoever tries to attack me. And I'm sure some people might not believe that somebody in their mid-20s would think that way, but I had already fought people before and quote unquote for real. So that's how I honestly felt. I wasn't cowardice. I had been in the Marine Reserves. I mean, dude, if I was, a coward, I probably wouldn't have walked in there in the first place. And you know what? If I was a coward, so what? Maybe it would be better if you're afraid to learn how to redirect and not strike if you are fearful than overstriking because you are afraid. But anyway, what does that have to do? So that's really using martial arts for peace. What does that have to do with the respectability hustle? What I call the respectability hustle is when people think that mental problems can just be solved by acting more respectable and being moral. When people think that some social ills that we have can be solved by just acting more responsible and being moral, and there's no physical component to it at all, and there's no legal component to it at all. So basically, it should involve no physical muscle or no legal muscle or financial muscle at all. And I did not come to this conclusion on my own. Someone explained to me, it was a relative I only met once or twice. They told me this man was my cousin. He was talking to me. I'm assuming he was my cousin. I have so many blood relatives. Distant, yes, but I can't possibly keep track of all of them. And if any of them are watching this, they know. Gloria's boy, Tick's boy, B's grandson, Cecil's boy, all the names I have. They know I don't know anybody. That boy don't know nobody. I don't, because it's too many of us. I'm sorry. It's too many of us. I can't keep track of all of us. Y'all know this. You know how many of us there are. I swear we could fill in a state. There's so many of us. My ancestry hits are ridiculous. And I look at these people before I even get down to the distance relations. There's a ton of folks. And then their kids are having kids. How can I possibly keep up with folks? But anyway, so I was little. And he was talking about how it's like, see the stuff they show on the news. They'll show someone acting up. And then people will come and talk about, oh, that's what's wrong with the culture. That's what's wrong with that community. That's what's wrong with whatever. And all they need to do is bring back values and, just basically if they would carry themselves better, wear a suit and tie and straighten up and fly right, that will solve that problem. And he said, no, Cecil, those people are sick. The problems that they have, that they are sick. That was the first time I heard somebody talk about this thing. Later in life, when I had gotten to, I think it was college, and I was learning about, some of the professors was talking about things from a more using the Afrocentric or commission type of philosophy stuff coming from Kemet. They would say that it's dis-ease. That's why you call it disease. And the problems are really spiritual and they need to be fixed that way. So I've come to my own conclusion on all of that to say, yes, some of these things, some of these bad behaviors, when you see people acting out, especially these days, you'll see something filmed on an iPhone, right? You only see the person acting out and lashing out and hitting, especially if somebody attacks a Karen. You only see the person lashing out and hitting Karen, okay? What you don't see is most likely the attack that happened before then, the type of provocation that would make even the most saintly of us at least think about striking at that person. And keep in mind, I don't approve of lashing out in violence. I don't believe in first striking in violence if it can possibly be helped, not in civilian violence. In my opinion, first striking is for war, and even not then. And I still wouldn't even call that first strike. Like if someone's running towards you and they're yelling and they got something coming at you and they're about to hit you in the head like this, and you manage to poke them with a stick before they quite get there, you make them drop their weapon, that would be the only reason why you would strike them first. If you go to the threat, that's first striking, but I don't advocate that. I'm really about defense. And that's why I really call the respectability hustle a hustle. So it's basically saying that all bad behavior that we see, the others, if we could just get them to just change their behavior, they just need to change their behavior. It's just a good talking to is going to magically fix what's wrong with them, and it's not. It's not necessarily going to do that. Some of these behaviors that people do, yes, there needs to be accountability. Yes, there are things wrong, granted. But the thing is, some of these folks have major psychological problems or medical problems that need a competent psychiatrist, psychologist, and counselor to handle. And 99% of us are not that, and 99% of us cannot really solve those problems. Now, since this is a martial arts themed channel, I bring the martial arts to it to say that the martial arts can help, in my opinion, because it's a good constructive activity if it's done in a constructive way that can help people get the confidence that they need to handle what they should be doing with the counselor, with the psychiatrist. Some people may even need medication and therapy. Because if the psychiatrist or psychologist are recommending martial arts as part of the therapy, then yes, that would definitely help. And now this is going to sound a little cynical. And again, I'm not advocating violence. If anything, I'm advocating non-violence. But you may have to move. Until we get these problems worked out and figured out in our society, if you are attacked by an unstable person, martial arts training can help you. It can help you be able to defend yourself against the unstable person. And if you get to a high enough skill level, you may not have to hurt them. You get to the point to where you can just avoid the attack. Let the unstable person wear themselves out. Then hopefully come back to reason. Or if you can't, if it's just that dangerous, you can at least do enough to escape and get out of there. Because like it or not, some of these violent and negative behaviors that we see that people are displaying, and I'm saying people because I'm not just talking about one group, just in general, any type of violence is not going to always be solved by a good talking to. You can't always de-escalate it. Can you de-escalate a lot of times? Yes, you can. You absolutely can. And I will never say that you can never de-escalate. No. But there will be times when you can't de-escalate. It can happen too fast for you to de-escalate. And if something's happening too fast for you to de-escalate, if you have a good, solid martial arts training background, you can be able to handle, minimize, and shut down the physical as much as you can in regular civilian violence. And then you can flip the script and go back into talking, into reasoning, into words. See, that's why a lot of people, and don't think that I'm against GUNs. I'm not against GUNs. I'm against you making that the first go-to in all of your physical encounters, in all of your civilian encounters, in all of them, because that's not true. You can't, no. And it's not like GUNs can't malfunction. And it's not like you can't be in a situation where you were surprised and a person is so close to you that you are not going to be able to get to the GUN in order to deploy it and use it. See, if you haven't figured out by now, I'm not just about just one thing. I emphasize one thing on this channel, that's martial arts, because that's what I'm qualified to help you with. Even though I know how to utilize GUN. Also, I had mentioned legal muscle. It's time to change some laws, folks. It's time to change some laws. I can't help you with that other than as a voter, because I'm not a lawyer. That's not my forte. I said a lot of these problems can be solved with psychiatric and psychological help, medication, and counseling. But guess what? I don't have PhDs in psychiatry or psychology, or master's degrees in psychiatry or psychology, or bachelor's degrees in psychiatry or psychology, or work experience in psychiatry or psychology. Even though, in my opinion, I think if we would actually address these morals issues with legal ramifications, psychological ramifications, medical ramifications, and dare I say, the bad word that I know the world hates, spiritual ramifications like from the Bible. Put all that together in with the martial arts mix. And I think we can really crack at some of these problems, and we can stop this whole respectability hustle, because violence is not going to go away just because those of us who are not violent, by us just acting better. I'm on live. You're being warned. This is going live out to the internet. So
and the food is ready.
Thank you. Okay. So, whatever you say. Thanks. So as you can hear, the food is ready. It's dinner time around the time of this video. So don't think that, why are these people that I'm looking at that are doing this bad behavior, they just need to just change and just act. No, it's not going to happen that easy. It's going to take time. How can I protect myself from people who have just gone off the deep end and, they're behaving in a way where I feel like they don't have any respect for anything or for me? Or how can I protect myself? One way you can start on the road to protecting yourself is by signing up for a martial arts class. And if you're near me, sign up for mine. And if you're worried about your child being bullied, since you feel like you get no recourse from the school, you feel like law enforcement is not going to do anything. And a lot of that is not just the system neglecting you. This is how it was explained to me. And I hated it when it was explained to me, but I think that this is true. Everybody has rights. So they can't just necessarily jump to your side. They have to hear both sides. And we all know, those of us who have dealt with people who are great at lying and manipulating, people who are great at lying and manipulating and doing bad things, are also great at looking like they didn't do anything the first time the light is shined on them. So you have to prove your case. And they could be trying to physically hurt you while you're trying to prove your case. So if that's the case, signing up for a martial arts class will help with that. So I really hope I've done this justice. If not, the fault is with me. But that's my take on the respectability hustle. Again, that's thinking that problems with violence can be solved if people would just be more respectable. Yes, you do have to do that, but you also need a warrior ethic. And that doesn't mean that you get to play super attack dog. It means that you need to be more of a peacemaker, use your hand-to-hand skills to not hurt them. Because if you know how to punch, then you should know how to counter a punch. And then you should know how to read when somebody's going to try to punch you. And if they're trying to punch you, you can get off the line of the attack. I didn't say stand there and let them hit you. I'm not saying that. You see, people try to take this and try to twist it and turn and say, he just wants people to just lay down and just let themselves just be beaten. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying at all. And also what I'm saying doesn't happen like this. It takes time. And I know that. And it takes maintenance. And I know that too. So you can solve those problems that way. And then you're going to need muscle. And that's in terms of spiritual muscle, legal muscle, psychiatric muscle, psychological muscle, health muscle. I think if we do all those things together, I think we can really nip those problems in the bud. So, alarm again. Time for me to go. Thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Be share so people like to talk about the martial arts in peace. And as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.